See what's happening right now. This is the Appalachian Weekly News on App TV.
An update on the new COVID vaccine clinic and how to get yours.
The fall semester is looking a little more normal than the past 3 semesters.
And fans face disappointment after a much-anticipated concert gets postponed.
And we learn a little more about a local food truck finding a new permanent home.
All of this and more on this week's edition of the Appalachian Weekly News.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on this Friday, April 9th. Live from the Beasley Media Complex in Boone, this is the Appalachian Weekly News. I'm Hadasa Rivera.
And I'm Katie Garceran.
Sga Election Results came in this week, and I don't know too much about the new president and VP.
You know what? Neither do I, Hadasa. Our correspondent Grace Powers got to sit down with them so that we could get to know them a little bit better.
This week, Student Government Association held their elections, and Mountaineers voted for their class representatives for the 2021 academic year. Meet Bailey Garden and DJ Evans, the newly elected student body president and vice president.
In the early days of forming their campaign, Bailey and DJ had the goal of setting out to make meaningful institutional change.
I literally think the text was like, let's do something big. So I want to go find that and put that somewhere, because it's kind of crazy how that turned out to now, and we're kind of in that position doing something big.
One of the main goals of their platform is to amplify all voices, a phrase they continued to reiterate throughout their campaign. The duo has 4 pillars they plan to uphold during their term. The first is engagement, which stresses the importance of facilitating valuable personal connections with other students. The second pillar is accountability, asking for the administration to answer to issues of sexual harassment, racism, and anti-Semitism on campus. The third pillar is equity, which serves to help provide resources to marginalized students. The fourth pillar is wellness, emphasizing the importance of mental health and advocating for academic relief. I asked Bailey Garden what it means to him to serve as the student body president.
When I heard the results, there's just 2 things that was going through my mind. The first one is being grateful just for the opportunity and just to be here at Appalachian State. You know, I'm a first generation college student. I'm Black, son of a single mom. So, you know, there was a time where in high school, I didn't even think college was kind of feasible, possible for me personally. And so just to have that opportunity to come to App and just a journey, just things that I've been through, and it's kind of me growing into a leader.
Bailey and DJ are eager to get to work advocating for Upstate students. The Appalachian Weekly News team will continue to keep you updated on the actions Bailey and Evan take as they enter their first term. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Grace Powers.
Speaking of the election, we have some more important results you need to know about. Evan Martino is the sophomore class representative, receiving 26.25% of votes. Madison Harris is the junior class representative, taking 18.24% of the total votes. And finally, Chloe Vaughn is the senior class representative, gaining 27.85% of voters. For additional election news, you can visit theappalachianonline.com for more updates. This past year has been really hard for students to adjust with everything being online.
Our correspondent Grace Smith has updates on the past no credit options.
Another assignment turned in. Zoom fatigue has students all over App State's campus scrambling to finish the semester strong. But one thing keeps ringing through their minds. Will I be able to pass my classes? App State Student Government Association has been working on a bill to allow students to pass or opt for no credit. SGA reached out to students through a survey that Senator Madison Harris conducted. This survey had a record number of responses for SGA in recent history, reaching over 1,900 students. Others involved in the drafting process of the passed no-credit bill are Braden Benkiel-Robinson and Zana Kukral. These members of SGA all have something in common. They want students to have the resources they need to succeed during another online semester. Despite the overwhelming support from the student body, some faculty members are apprehensive.
As everybody's getting used to the online format and things, you kind of have a sentiment that's growing of, well, people should be used to it by now, and things should just kind of really a notion of the fact that we've come so far into COVID and we've been here for almost 3 full semesters now. Maybe it's time to stop giving so many concessions and get used to it. I feel like that's kind of a sentiment that I've noticed from some students and teachers alike.
SGA passed similar legislation last semester, but this bill had to be altered.
Instead of being able to do unlimited pass no credit, we now have adopted a sliding scale model. Depending on how many credit hours you have, a percentage of your credit hours is how many classes you can opt into the pass no credit.
Something SGA is doing with this bill that is different from last semester's is an emphasis on student awareness of how the bill can help them.
A lot of students didn't understand how to use the policy, and that was one of the big faculty concerns was, well, students aren't using it correctly, we shouldn't have it. This is a good option and we should work to inform students. So we've created a kind of guideline for advisors to communicate with their students should the policy pass, as well as this task force that I mentioned to kind of create information, host different Zoom calls if needed, anything like that to kind of help students understand the policies.
Krugel says that if students are in favor of the bill, they can reach out to her or Bailey Garden. Their email addresses can be found on the Appalachian State SGA website. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I am Grace Smith.
The Asian Student Association is disappointed in university efforts following the recent Atlanta spa attacks. These attacks killed 8 people, 6 of whom were of Asian descent. Following the attack, the ASA released a statement to inform people of their presence at App State. Will Fleming is the Chief Diversity Officer. He says, quote, App State strongly denounces cultural racism and xenophobic actions, unquote. The ASA feels neglected as other organizations like the Black Student Association have a space in the student union. Geethma Patharithna is the finance chair for the ASA. She says the university assumes the ASA is fine how it is.
I feel like, in my personal experience, what I've seen is that the university knows that we're there, thinks we're small, and that we're self-sufficient, and that we kind of work under this model minority myth where we'll come to this university, will, take our classes, get our degree, and then leave.
If you need help during this grieving period, you can contact the ASA by messaging them on Instagram at ASA@ASU.
Chancellor Sherry Everett announced that App State's Chief Diversity Officer, Willie Fleming, will retire this summer. Fleming earned both his master's and bachelor's degree here in the high country. He's been with the university since 2016. Working at a predominantly white institution, much of Fleming's work has focused on fostering inclusive spaces for underrepresented students. In the last year, he's worked with the Black at App State Collective to create accountability and space for minority students within the university. Everett says, quote, we know he will continue to remain involved with the university and will stay connected with as many friends and colleagues here on campus, end quote.
If you haven't been vaccinated yet, App State has you covered.
If you visit the website here, you'll see a list of frequently asked questions, such as if you want a vaccine, what should you do? Where can you get the vaccine? Is it safe? Is there a cost? And what happens after? You can click on register for an App State COVID-19 vaccine clinic for more information.
App State is giving out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and you can see here that you'll be able to choose an appointment time. We have one here for next week, actually, right now, and then you are able to put in your information, and you'll be receiving a confirmation from the school.
If you want more information about the vaccination itself or the testing site, go to appstate.edu/go/coronavirus/vaccine. Speaking of App State vaccine clinics, the latest one was actually yesterday. App State is offering vaccinations to App State students, faculty, staff, and community members.
People congregated at the Holmes Convocation Center from 9 to 4, waiting to receive their vaccines. The vaccine is free and doesn't require insurance. So far, 2,943 vaccines have been distributed on campus. That was good. Now for an update on the COVID-19 pandemic here in the high country. Numbers are actually looking really good right now. There are currently 6 active cases. More than 5,300 tests have been performed on campus since January. And this week, only 8 positive cases were identified from 966 COVID tests.
You know, Katie, we've been getting a lot of questions lately about why we have been wearing masks in the studio.
That's right, Hadasa. Guidelines from the state are still in effect on campus, so in any residence halls, dining halls, or classroom buildings, it is still important to follow the 3 W's: wear a mask, wash your hands, and wait 6 feet apart. I'm not fully vaccinated yet. Are you, Hadasa?
Not quite. We are continuing to wear masks due to state guidelines. If you or someone you know needs a mask, you can pick up the university-issued mask from the beginning of the semester at the River Street parking deck. The Historic Preservation Commission recommended that Boone Town Council designate an area of downtown as a local historic district. The proposed district borders River Street in the east near the Beasley Media Complex and Queen Street in the west by the back of Lost Province. If passed, properties in the district will be protected from demolition in the future. The Boone Town Council will not vote on this immediately. A vote will take place after public hearings in which residents will have the opportunity to review and comment on the details of the recommendation.
App State is expecting to be back in person classes this coming fall after almost a full year online. Chancellor Sherry Everett announced in her weekly update that the university is excited to have in-person classes, occupied residence halls, and in-person events and dining in fall 2021. She says, quote, "I encourage every Mountaineer to get vaccinated when the time comes and help bring the Appalachian community closer to returning to in-person working and learning environments that we all miss." End quote.
University Communications sent out an email informing students of what spring commencement ceremonies will look like this year. In-person ceremonies will take place May 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, and 12th at the Holmes Convocation Center. There are 3 ceremonies offered on each date for a total of 15 options. As of now, state restrictions limit attendance to 2 guests per graduate. Should restrictions ease, the university will offer more tickets per graduate. Ticket pickup information will be emailed to graduates' App State email accounts the last week of April.
From the right to the left.
I'm definitely excited. I had no expectation of walking across the stage. I thought it was all going to be online, so I was kind of bummed about all the online classes last year, but it's nice to receive it in person, and that's just a good feeling to walk across the stage. It's nice to be done because I'm getting tired of classes and homework. I've had major senioritis, but it's bitter. It's also bitter because it's been a nice time.
Have you been on Apple Cart lately, Katie?
No, Hadasa, I haven't actually, but our correspondent Shaheem Stafford spoke with Apple Cart about possible changes in the fall.
This upcoming fall, students and residents of Boone should be on the lookout for possible changes with Apple Cart. Now, these specific changes will help mitigate some of the issues concerning drivers and passengers.
Out of the 142 Apple Cart stops, 21 of them are planning to be cut due to proximity issues and lack of use to the public. In addition, removing these stops permanently will aid in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I spoke with the director of Apple Cart, Craig Hughes, about why these changes are so important.
The COVID-19 response and precautions, and we kind of went over that a little bit when we made the changes, and this one was, to reduce the amount of time that people are spending on the bus, and to shortening the route some. Because if you have to slow down and look at every stop to see if someone's there.
The pink route in particular will have a new route added on to help reduce the amount of passengers.
Shadow line or opening up, it's the Fenmore.
Okay, yeah.
And there's over 500 beds in that apartment complex. So we weren't sure that the existing Pink and Express could handle that load because they get used quite a bit. They're utilized quite a bit. So we, came to an agreement with the property management company and added a route there.
To combat timing issues, Apple Cart is looking to add a second new route in addition to the silver route.
The gray is in addition to the silver route. Right now, the silver currently runs. It's hard to keep that route on time. It's a long route. And we designed it trying to serve the main campus, Old Bristol Road.
Now, a public hearing is set to take place on April 26th to allow residents to voice their concerns before these changes are finalized. Reporting for the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Shaheem Stafford.
It's been really nice today after that rain shower yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, it has, and hopefully there's no rain in our near future. Aiyana, what can we expect?
Well, I'm sorry to tell you guys, you may need to bring a raincoat with you today. Temperatures will reach a high of 63 degrees with a 40% chance of rain, and you should expect evening showers as well. Temperatures will drop into the mid-40s tonight, so if you have big plans, I'm sure they'll get rained out. Temperatures in the high country will stay consistent this weekend. It will be a wet one with scattered showers happening on both Saturday and Sunday. Boone will reach a high of 65 with a low of 49 degrees. Neighboring towns like Blowing Rock, Seven Devils, and Beach Mountain will also see scattered showers and temperatures in the 60s. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have plans tonight or this weekend, I'm sure they're going to get rained out. Sunday in the high country will be another rainy day, so keep your umbrellas close. Temperatures will stay in that mid-60s range, and I expect next week to be a rainy one as well. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we should see scattered showers with temperatures in the mid-60s. Thursday and Fridays will be in the lower 40s, and the high will reach 60s. So, Katie, Hadasa, I hope you have a sunny attitude, an umbrella, and a rain jacket because y'all are definitely going to need it.
Aiyana, we always try to have a sunny attitude over here, right?
Definitely. Country music singer and songwriter Luke Combs announced via Twitter that his May 1st performance at Kid Brewer Stadium is postponed. According to an email the university sent out, App State and Live Nation will provide details for refunds once a rescheduled date is announced. In an Instagram story, Combs encouraged fans to keep an eye on their inbox and his social media for the updated performance date. In a tweet, Combs said, quote, "I'm sorry, y'all, but due to North Carolina restrictions, we're not able to have the show in Boone yet. So the show scheduled for May 1st, 2021 is postponed. New date is to be determined." End quote.
Food trucks are essential to Boone culture, and one truck is deciding to move. Smokin' Jay's Barbecue took to Facebook to announce their new location on the 105 bypass near Caldwell Community College. The truck used to be located at the end of King Street near Town Hall. Co-owner Marlo Jennings says the new location will provide more seating and parking and will allow them to have entertainment. The Jennings said, quote, "The support from the community has been overwhelming and we are very grateful and excited about what is to come," unquote. If you want to learn more about their truck and the location change, search Smokin' Jay's Barbecue on Facebook.
We have some bad news for local Chick-fil-A fans. If you're craving nuggets and fries, the Chick-fil-A in Boone will be closed for a couple of weeks. Chick-fil-A's Boone location announced that after 17 years of business, their restaurant will receive a complete remodel. According to their construction team, the process is set to take around 6 to 8 weeks. The restaurant asked customers to check back in with them through Facebook and Instagram in late April for more updates.
Now, Hadasa, I heard that next season App State basketball might be losing 2 star players.
Connor, any updates for us?
Well, I do have great news in that regard. App State basketball players Justin Forrest and Michael Almonacci both announced on Twitter that they will use their extra year of eligibility and return to the team next season. Forrest and Almonacci made long statements thanking the coaches before saying they want to run it back and keep making history. The two players averaged a combined 25.9 points per game last season. App State Wrestling had a historic year with tons of success. Our correspondent Miles Greer has the story on the All-American wrestler who made it happen.
Appalachian State University took 7 wrestlers to the Division I NCAAs in St. Louis, and out of those 7 wrestlers, Jonathan Milner was awarded All-American honors, which hadn't happened in program history since 2017. Jonathan Milner reflected on his performance last weekend and what it meant to him.
Being All-American, it feels great, just to represent the program and Appalachian State University, just to shed light on our team, because we've got a really good team. So just to continue to represent, and hopefully we have more next year. My expectations are a little bit higher, just gaining that experience. There's no substitute for experience in this sport. So, like I said, I always expect to win. That's my number one goal. But, a lot of people are going to expect it out of me too as well. So
Jonathan Milner also talks about what lies ahead, not only for himself, but for the team as well.
The plan to start getting back on the mat for next year is, now. We can't take any days off, especially when you don't get the results that you want. The plan is to get them guys ready to go back to the national tournament, hopefully take more than 7 and have more than 1 All-American. That's the number one expectation right now, and that's our focus training moving forward.
To keep up with these Mountaineers as they prepare for next season, you can visit their socials on Instagram, Twitter, and even Facebook at @wrestling. Again, that's at APPWRESTLING on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. With the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Miles Greer.
3 App State baseball games against Coastal Carolina were postponed last week due to COVID-19 cases among the Chanticleers. The team then took on NC State on Tuesday, but the Wolfpack dominated the Mountaineers 13-2. App State has now lost 5 of its last 6 games. Tonight, the team looks to bounce back against Georgia State at 5 p.m. After losing 5 straight games earlier in the season, App State softball is now on a 6-game tear and is 17-10 overall. The team looks to carry that momentum into a stretch of 6 straight conference matchups. For a team that's only 1-5 in conference play, these next few weeks are very important. The next game is on Saturday against ULM at noon. App State women's tennis sits at 5-12 overall after losing 4 of its last 5 matches. On Saturday, the team edged Troy 4-3, but couldn't carry the momentum into the next game and fell to South Alabama 1-4 on Saturday. On Wednesday, they looked to pick up the pieces, but couldn't top Coastal Carolina as they lost 2-4. With only 2 games left, the team looks to finish strong against Charlotte and Davidson. An adult soccer league is making its way to Boone. Our correspondent, Zenaira Marine Lopez, has the story.
App State University soccer games and club soccer are in full swing this spring semester. But for those too old or unaffiliated to play university-sanctioned sports, their goal is unlike the rest.
Boone's High Country Soccer Association's Adult League formed in 2001, offering the sports to adults age 18 and older. Raman Tashikori is a professor at App State and a member of the league. Even while the COVID-19 pandemic exists, he looks forward to every Sunday to play the game he loves.
We kind of watched the safety as best as we could, keep the distance, no handshake, no hugging, try to kind of avoid some of the very close contact, but everybody was really aware of that. And then we played and we had fun, and that's the way, people came together. That's what I see the value of this, even the tournament, even beyond in a more organized way.
The league sees 250 to 300 adults on game nights throughout the week. Even with COVID-19 barriers, High Country Soccer Association has seen record numbers of players and teams this year.
The tournament, the league, we need much larger number in a more organized way.
The A&B Premier Adult Soccer League plays at the Ted Mackerel Soccer Complex weekly and hosts open games on Sundays. For more information, visit www.hcsoccer.com/adult or the association's Facebook page at HC Soccer Adult League. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Zenaira Marine Lopez.
And that's all we have for sports this week. Katie, Hadasa, let's hope our spring sports teams can finish strong.
Thanks for that update, Connor.
And now it's time for your High Country High Note.
If you've been thinking about adopting a furry friend, you're in luck because in 2 short months, you'll have the opportunity to do so.
That's right. Our correspondent Isabel Martin has a story about a sanctuary specifically for kittens.
The saying goes that it rains cats and dogs, but for the next few months, it'll be raining something a little bit different. Kittens.
The Nahimana Forest Animal Sanctuary is not your typical cat rescue. This Todd, North Carolina-based rescue is no-kill and caps their intake at 9 cats, which is an intentional effort of Amber and Sean Dolan, the founders of the sanctuary.
So by maintaining our number of intakes at no more than 9, we're allowed to create more of a cozy home-like environment, which we think is really helpful for the cats when they go to make a transition to their forever home. There's easy chairs, there's music playing, there's a bunk bed behind us that they can climb on.
Amber and Sean found a litter of abandoned kittens on their property years ago and decided to raise all 7 of those kittens as their own. In creating the nonprofit, Amber and Sean both began learning about the realities of feline overpopulation and cat euthanization in North Carolina.
Even though there was a decline in North Carolina, the number of cats euthanized, it dropped about 6% across all counties. There was still almost 41,000 cats that were put to death. So roughly 110 cats a day are being euthanized, and that just seems like too many.
Amber and John encourage anyone with a cat to consider getting their cat spayed and neutered, keeping them indoors, and considering the magnitude of the numbers of cats being euthanized every year.
Josie is only she was about 7 or 8 months, we're not really sure. But kittens as young as 4 months of age can already start having kittens. And that's really a little detrimental to the 4-month-old because they're just still growing, and it can be detrimental to the little kittens.
These little guys will be available in just 8 short weeks. If you're interested in adopting them, visit the Nahimana website to access the adoption application. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Isabel Martin.
And that's our report this week. I'm Katie Garceran.
And I'm Hadasa Rivera. For all of us at the Appalachian Weekly News, thank you for watching. Today's episode is actually the very last time Katie here will be anchoring with us, and she will be greatly missed. Let's take a look at some highlights of your time with us this past year.
Thank you for joining us on this Friday, August 28th. Joining you from the Beasley Media Complex in Boone, this is the Appalachian Weekly News. The Watauga Community Recreational Center plans to be the new hub for everyone in the Boone community once it opens. People in the high country don't have to wait any longer to fly down the mountain. Literally. I think they turned out pretty well. I'm excited about how mine looks. Hopefully this study will afford us all with some more information on how we can keep protecting our bodies after we get gone. The Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Katie Garceran. Thank you all so much. I've loved my time here at the Appalachian Weekly News, and I will greatly miss you all as well. But thank you so much for watching this week. We'll see you next week.